Well, let's get more now on Sir David Attenborough's warning that climate change could cause the collapse of civilization and the UN-sponsored conference in Poland, which is said to be the most critical since Paris in 2015. Tom Burke is the chairman of Third Generation Environmentalism, a former senior advisor to the Foreign Secretary's Special Representative on Climate Change, and he joins me now from our central London studio. Very good evening to you.
Good evening, Anna.
It's a little bit difficult, isn't it, to be optimistic about this, given that some of the big players, namely the US and indeed now Brazil, are so lukewarm about the process right now?
I think that's certainly a setback, having Trump be so negative, and I say with the Brazilian premier also looking as if he's going to join him. But what was, I think, about really countering that was we've just had the G20 in Argentina, and Trump was isolated there on his own, and even Brazil still went along with the agreement there. And what they did was they reconfirmed their commitment to the Paris Agreement. So it's not the best thing that can happen, because what matters now is that we've got to move a lot faster. And the fact that you've got these big players pulling back will slow us down a bit, but it won't fundamentally derail the process.
Well, 12 years was the latest warning we had. What possibly can the world achieve in that time?
Well, there's no doubt at all that we have the technology that if we wanted to, we could deploy that technology in time to avoid the kind of outcomes that David Attenborough was talking about today. So it's within our technological capacity to do it, and there's no doubt at all that we can afford to do it. So the real problem is the problem of mobilising the political will. It's really whether we can get the politicians to do the things we know how to do and to do them in time to prevent these awful outcomes occurring for all of us.
And the tech option, presumably, is expensive. And what do you include in that? Is it, carbon capture, nuclear fuel? What do you mean by technology having the solutions?
The first and most straightforward thing to do, and the cheapest thing to do, is to improve the efficiency with which we use energy, both in our homes and in business. And that will also, by the way, drive down people's bills. And that will take us a really significant way forward if we used energy as efficiently as we could. But after that, we can meet all of our energy needs if we want to from solar and renewable electricity, using batteries, using electric vehicles. So there isn't a problem about actually meeting people's energy needs in order to solve the climate change problem. We've got that technology now. We've got more coming down the pike, and we're going to have a lot more as we go on. And what's more, it's almost certain that that will be cheaper than going ahead in the way that we're going ahead now.
When you say our, do you mean here in the UK, or do you mean the global population? Because the energy demands of those populous countries like China and India will only grow in future years.
There's no doubt at all that there are a great many people who need more energy. That's absolutely right. But we can supply those needs with renewable resources. And as I say, the way in which the cost of renewables is coming down now, both for wind and for solar, the way the cost of batteries is coming down, that they're now in many places of the world already cheaper than the fossil fuel options that we have. So there really isn't a problem about affording this. The problem really is putting the technology we've got to work as soon as we possibly can.
It is easy, isn't it, to feel hopeless about this? A recent study showed that CO2 emissions, for example, are back on the rise again. What are the real prospects of us keeping the global temperature increase to 1.5 degrees beyond pre-industrial levels? Well, we all feel like we could do a little bit, but actually, can we really stop what's happening to this planet?
I don't want to be a Pollyanna. I don't want to suggest that this is going to be easy and won't involve lots of change. We've got to, but it will be change of the kind we're seeing with the deployment of mobile phones. It's not the kind of technology revolution that we don't know how to do, but it will be difficult. It won't be straightforward. It won't be easy to do, but it's certainly within the bounds of what we're capable of doing, as we've seen with the way we've taken on board the new technologies in the last decade or so. So I don't think that that's really the problem. And you're absolutely right. One of the big things is getting into a mode where we think we can't solve this problem, therefore we should give up. And that's, in a sense, the real danger, that we retreat into nationalism, we retreat into everybody hanging on to their own bit, and we don't realise that we really do have to pull together as a world if we want to solve this problem. If we don't solve this problem, our children are going to have a much worse world than we inherited.
Tom Burke, appreciate that. Thank you.